Hello friends, welcome back to another video and another race weekend. We're back here in Chilliwack at the Greg Moore track, and this time we're going to be running it backwards. So that's my second time here and first time in the reverse direction, but fortunately it's a lot of people's first time going backwards here, so we won't be too far behind, hopefully. We're about to go out for practice, so we're going to find out. Well, it might have been a lot of people's first time running the track backwards, but I think even those with a lot of laps running it forwards had a little bit of a leg up, because whichever way you drive it, this is just a wildly different experience than cruising around VIMC on the island here. And while it would take me a while to get up to speed, it definitely didn't take me long to realize what I was in for. Already a lap or two in, and my hands are aching, I'm having to will myself to loosen my grip on the wheel, arms are sore, everything's tired, and it's like, we've been doing this for 3 minutes. So it was definitely good that we had the full day of practice. I think we had 5 sessions. I needed the time, but it felt like a long time. So I'm not sure which session this was. I think it's somewhere in the middle, but basically we started about 2 seconds off the leader's pace. I think the fastest people on the practice day were doing about 59.5s. I started in the low 101, or the high 101s, that is. And by the end of the day, I was down to about 1 minute point 4s. So still roughly a second off the lead pace, but making progress at least. But you didn't come here to watch me do practice laps, so let's skip ahead and take a look at qualifying on Saturday. So in short, qualifying went poorly. My plan had been to stick behind Dustin in the 5:15 here, since we were on a pretty similar pace, and I think we had 1 or 2 behind us that were also about the same. But you see, he goes a bit wide here, and I end up ahead with a little bit of a gap in front. What I probably should have done here is just back off right away, because this was already a throwaway lap, and let him catch back up so we could train along and he give me pushes through the next lap. But I was just focused on trying to, go as fast as I could and try to keep up with the guys ahead, and didn't manage to do that, but also built a little bit of a gap behind, and so I was kind of in no man's land for the next couple of laps. And of course, once I go over the line here and start the next one, I don't want to give up on this lap because it still could be decent with a bit of a distant draft, etc. So I ran through this lap. And I think we only got like 4 laps total, so at that point I'm kind of stuck with that logic. I never want to just back off to try and close up the train and throw away a lap, because who knows, that might be my only good one. So I ended up mostly by myself doing a 1 minute point 8, which I felt wasn't too bad for clear air pace, but with leaders doing 59.5, it was not good enough, and it has me starting 21st out of 24 for the first heat. But the one good thing about starting at the back is there's only one way to go, right? Or at least that's what you'd hope. Let's see how it goes. Ooh. You might have thought it's Mario Kart where you can just hop right over other karts. Not so much. But that might have worked out alright for us. Got back in behind Dustin here. Oh, he's going to go out wide though, so we'll take that invitation. And now we seem to be down to roughly single file. Made a few spots there, so not too bad of a start, and hopefully we can keep right up with these guys. I spent far too much time all by myself in the practice day there, and it would be nice to operate in a train for a little bit. Oh, things mixing up. Okay, nothing happening there. Oh, but they're just all gonna open up the door, so we'll take a couple more. My thinking here was to squeeze him to the inside a little bit to hopefully hang on around the outside around this corner, but he just sent it through there, and I decided not to fight it all that hard, because honestly it's probably better for me to be in the middle of this pack and just try to stick with him, but I'm going to have to do a better job than that. Not taking enough of the curb at 1B there and not getting back on the throttle for 1A fast enough, so giving up a lot there. And there, not taking enough of that curb, and then not getting up back on the throttle fast enough for 11 either. I definitely kept learning throughout the weekend and realized these things, so it is a little bit painful watching the early laps back now and seeing all the things I could have been doing. But still, we've made up quite a number of spots in this race, so can't be too disappointed. Wow, I don't know exactly what happened there, just completely Missed the apex. That wasn't too bad. I could be clobbering that curb on the left quite a bit more. I was talking to Marcus Ericsson at one point during the weekend, and one of several good points that he made was that most of the time, if you're going to take a curb, you want to like absolutely devour it and maybe even be hanging over the grass a little bit on the inside. Because if you're going to take it, it's going to, you know, upset the cart and all that. You're taking the negatives, basically, no matter how much of it you take. So you might as well take it all and get all of the benefits. So at this point, I've probably gained enough spots that I am ahead of people who have more outright pace than I do. So I'm expecting to come under some pressure here, and actually I think it's about to happen right now. Yeah, he goes for the inside. I see it coming, give a little bit of space, and plan to just tuck in behind, which that does seem to be working out okay. But yeah, so I took that curb, but I took it at the wrong angle, and I think this is another thing that I realized later in the weekend, is that the whole point of taking that, obviously, is to open up the right-hander that comes next, 5 I guess would be. So you need to jump over that curb heading toward the left, pull it as far left as you can, and then back to the right. As it is, I'm kind of just shooting straight at the apex of 5, which then obviously makes that corner quite a bit tighter, and you can see the giant gap that's opened up in front of me as a result. Well, not only as a result of that one corner, but you get what I mean. Yeah, see, way under the limit through there. That's one where I think all the way through the weekend, every time I took that corner, I was like, oh, get back on the throttle earlier. And then I come around the next lap, and I do exactly the same thing, and internally kick myself. But, you know, that's all right. Learning. Or failing to learn? I don't know, it's something. On the plus side, I do take corner 5 quite a bit better coming up here. Yeah, just hold it over to the left a tiny bit more before turning back to the right. I can still obviously do better than that, but I think that was my best of the session, or probably of the day so far. And with that, this will end up being my best lap of the session with a 1:05. So despite only having a distant draft here, this is just about on pace with my best laps from practice. And it meant I actually gained back some ground on the kart ahead. Unfortunately, what I don't have yet is consistency, so I'm not going to hold on to that gained ground. For the next 3 laps, we're going to hold position, but drop off a little bit while keeping the green car behind us here. So let's just fast forward to the next mayhem. Alright, 2.5 laps later here, I'm going to get a bad exit out of 5. I think I scrub a little bit when I try to get back on the power. And that's going to have him pull up alongside me on the outside there. I'm going to manage to hang on to it around the inside and keep the position, but I imagine he's getting a little bit impatient and probably wanting to make something happen. Still leaving grip on the table through there, but nonetheless we managed to open up a little bit of a gap, and I'm not sure if we, well, no, I was going to say maybe we had a gearing advantage, but maybe not. I saw him kind of catching up toward the end of the straight there. Still, a bit of a gap remains. However, as we come around here, he's going to have a good opportunity to draft up to the back of us. And sure enough, he's getting closer and closer. And that's rather poor timing for a bump. Yeah, you can see him shaking his head there. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but that little tap right as I turned in was enough to send me 2 wheels into the grass and cause a switch in positions here. And also kill my momentum enough, unfortunately, that I'm basically out of his draft as well. So, let's see if we can do something about that, maybe with some bumps from Dustin behind. Could definitely still be taking more of that curb and getting on the throttle sooner. And that's the white flag. So this is going to be a bit of a tall order to catch him in this lap, but we're going to give it our best. Rear tire is starting to get a bit squirrely at this point in the session. a half decent corner 5 there, and we're actually slightly closer than last lap, I think, but definitely not close enough to catch up before the end of the session here. Fortunately, it turns out it didn't matter, because he actually got a 5-second penalty for that little bump and run, and we are definitely within 5 seconds. So we make up 6 spots and finish this one in 15th place. Not a bad start. Of course, it wasn't really the start, and as I mentioned earlier, it is a little bit easier to make up 6 places when you start 21st, but we'll forget about that. It was a good session. Let's have another good one. Alright, so far so good. Ideally, I'd like to be touching the guy in the 13 cart here. Maybe we can achieve that. Maybe not. Let's see how we do when we go down the main straight. Am I going to take more of that? Oh no, I did less of the curb that time. I really need to get on top of that. Literally on top of the curb. Also, sorry about this stupid strobing the camera's doing. I thought when I switched from GoPro to this DJI Action 6 that it would solve my problems, but it solved some and created others. I was messing with the settings through the whole weekend trying to get it to stop that, and about all I achieved was I could make it strobe faster or slower depending on the frame rate I chose, but none of the other settings did anything. Fortunately, it also just decided to die for absolutely no reason there, so we can switch to this camera. We can just look at the DJI as it sits there shamefully doing nothing, blocking our view. Anyway, enough of that. How's the race going? Looks like we've lost a little bit of ground, which isn't too surprising, because I think we're up to about 12th now, so made up another few places. 11th, maybe even? Regardless, I think our reach may have exceeded our grasp here. So the name of the game is going to be to try and hold on to this position. Oh, and I'd really like to try and take more of that curb. I swear I figured that out at some point. Let's see what we can do. And what we're going to do is open the door here and get passed by both of these guys. I realized later on that my line through there not only opened the door, but was actually costing me time as well. What I was trying to do was pull it over to the right out of 10 and into 9, using the regular forwards numberings, by the way, to open up the entrance to 9 more, which normally makes sense when you have combined corners, but because 9 is that light bulb, the big sort of carousel corner, having a faster entrance doesn't really help you because you just keep turning after that. So I was actually finding that I was coming in and then I was losing the rear mid-corner because I was carrying more speed than I could handle when I had to keep pulling it over toward the left. So basically, if you just shoot straight at the entrance of that and treat it more like a G-circle, or maybe not straight at, but closer than I was anyway, you lose less time driving extra distance on the way in, you don't open up the door to get past, and it doesn't actually cost you anything, because here we are again, because you're then carrying the speed that you can carry for the rest of the corner, so it all just kind of works out. May have taken me a while to figure that out, but at least I got there eventually. We've also eventually gotten roughly back in touch with these guys. They were dropping us for a little bit there at the beginning of that lap, but we're just about back with them now. Fair amount of sliding of the rear through 3 there though, so that's going to cost me down this straight, as you can see. I imagine we're going to skip much of that curb again. Yep. Did do a somewhat okay job of getting back on the throttle though, at least. And I believe this lap starting now is going to be my fastest of the session, with just a little bit of draft off of these guys ahead. Not the best start though, still definitely under the limit on that corner. That was better, kept it tucked in tighter on the entrance there. Still didn't really open that entrance up enough, but I think coming up here I'm going to have a really good corner 3, which is probably what's going to make this lap. Yeah, much more planted through there that time. Little tiny twitch on the entrance, which honestly probably just helped with rotation, and then wasn't having to fight it mid-corner. I think it just came down to turning in slightly later. It's so tempting to turn in too early to those corners, so that was good. And this is good too. These guys getting held up a little bit, which is helping me out. No, this is ambitious. Some might say greedy. Oh, definitely got a little bit impatient there. Oh, there, you can see on that one how not swinging out quite as wide on the entrance just saves me a little bit of distance compared to 15 ahead. Maybe if Borat keeps helping out with bumps, we can catch back up here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yes! That was a little bit less ambitious than the other attempted pass there. Alright, can we catch these next two then? And a valiant effort, but that is the white flag, so it's looking like the answer is probably not, and probably time to focus on maintaining what we got. Again, did not leave the door open there, so got the bump instead of getting past. Well, we are actually getting pretty close here. Oh, he got through there really good, though. Yeah, looks unlikely. Oh, we have lost Leighton behind, though. They're mixing it up back there. I think past me had the same thought. Where did he go? Alright, so we're going to hold on here. And I believe that is 13th place. So yeah, if you wanted to stop watching here, you know, you got a pretty good idea of how my weekend went. No real need to watch the rest of the sessions. It's all pretty much the same, basically. You're still here? Okay, fine. Here comes heat 3. Got a pretty decent launch again, but then we kind of get frozen on the outside here, and there's a train of carts over on the, well, that was the inside of us, now the outside of us, but either way, we're not in the train that we want to be until now, so we managed to slot back in, but I think net we lose one spot there, and a bit of a gap opening up in front, so it's definitely head down time now to try and stay in touch. Okay, we do manage to close back up a bit, and there could be a bit of an opportunity forming here, but that's ambitious again. And yeah, same thing again, ends up just killing our momentum. Would have been better to probably just swing around a bit wider. Took a good amount of curb that time at least. And then signaling for some help from behind, maybe a bit aware of making myself vulnerable with that ambitious pass attempt. And there goes the main camera again. On the plus side, I've ordered one of the new GoPro, the Mission 1 line, the new fancy ones, hopefully going to save the company. Hold that thought, I might be getting past. Let's see if I can hold on the inside here. Ah, but that's a very nice switchback move by number 20 there. Kudos to you, sir. GoPro. This new one supposedly solves all of the overheating and battery and weird turnoff problems and whatever that their old cameras had, plus the picture is better and all that, bigger sensor, etc. So, really hoping that that will be the holy grail camera that is not doing all these stupid things. Because honestly, the picture on my old GoPros was always great, it was just that I was having to like put wet socks over them to keep them from shutting off before the race even started and whatever, so that kind of sucked, but it seems like the DJI sucks in its own special way, so yeah. This Insta360 is the most reliable of the lot, but being a 360 cam, it doesn't have quite the, you know, the resolution, the clarity of the action cams. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, all the spots. Now, just a classic freight training there. Not a whole lot I can do besides try to stick to them, which I gotta take corner 5 better than that if I want to do that. Still turning in too early there and scrubbing speed. Taking the curb better there, but need to get on power sooner. Oh, but I did get on power better there. That was one of my better times through corner 11 for sure. Which opened up a tiny gap behind, but that's not going to last, and I don't know if we got enough to catch this group ahead. As it turns out, we're going to spend 3 laps trying, consistently in the mid 1 minutes. Roughly maintaining the gaps in front and most of the time behind, with an occasional bump here and there. And then we have this. I guess we call that target fixation. I remember thinking at the time, I saw him coming up on the side of me and I left him space and I was like, okay, this is fine. I just need to tuck right in behind him, make sure I don't lose his draft, and I'll have an opportunity to get by him later. And look at that, I did get by him later. But yeah, I should have been a little bit more focused on actually keeping it on the track, which I entirely could have done, except I had devoted my entire brain to just following right behind him, which I did. It didn't turn out so well. And yeah, it's going to keep getting worse here, because I think as I come around here, yeah, I have no rear grip anymore. It was so bad that it felt like the kart was actually broken, which I thought might be the case, even though it was fairly smooth over the grass there. But no, I just picked up so much dirt and grass on my rear tires that I have absolutely no grip. So now I lost a couple spaces during the original excursion there, and another 3 places just now. At this point, I looked behind me, I saw there's no other spots to lose, and so not being sure what was going on with the kart exactly, I just kind of backed it off and brought it home here, which we do not need to watch. So instead, we fast forward a day here, and we are just rolling up for the final. It's going to be 16 minutes plus a lap, which I was definitely expecting to feel like a rather long time around here, but we can do it. Now, fortunately for me, the starting positions for the final are determined through the total points from the first 3 heats, not just from that 3rd heat, which the less said about the better. It still does drop me down somewhat, so I am starting in 18th place, but better than starting at the back. Although, like I said, there are advantages to that. Still, let's try and make the most of this, and here we go. Alright, not too bad. Stabilizing here. I think we gained 2 and lost 1, so net up 1 from the start and right in the train, although things are happening ahead of us already. Unfortunately, tough to take any advantage of that down this straight, so we'll just slot right back in here. Corner 5 could have been better, but not catastrophic. Now, potential opportunity here, but yeah. I remembered how I kept trying to dive to the inside when that happened the day before and how it kept going wrong, and figured, nope, not going to fall into the trap this time. And I mean, I didn't get a space out of it, but I didn't get dropped either, so I'm going to take that. I'm starting to get dropped a little bit here, though. It was a bit squirrely through 9 and then paying for that all the way down here. And under the limit there, it's a theme for this weekend. I was just having a lot of trouble getting back on the throttle early enough on those fast corners out of 1 and 11 and that one there, 7. Okay, this guy's gotten alongside on the outside. See if we can hang it around here. Try the switchback, but no, we got through there pretty well, so I'm gonna hold on to this one at least for now. Always feels like maybe you're gaining when you get into the slower stuff and everybody's closer together, but not sure that's actually the case. Ooh, he overshot a little bit behind there. Bought me some breathing room. And every time you see a little puff of dust up ahead, you feel a bit of hope. Doing better through 3 here now, even though I was fighting the rear a little bit at that time. I noticed going over my laps the day before, or the night before, I was dirting in too early, so I've corrected that and taken the curb properly there. So really it is just what I was talking about before. I just need to be getting back on the throttle sooner in those fast corners. Looks like I might have a little bit more gear than the guy behind me, so that's going to help me stay ahead at the end of those straights.
I think he wanted to tuck it up the inside there, but I didn't leave him space on that mini corner.
Bought myself another lap. That looked pretty clean. Again, it's not planted through there, but at least the line is better. Definitely have margin on the exit there still, though. I guess I don't need to mention that every time. I'm pretty sure it's always going to be the case. I am taking more curb on 12 there now. You can see actually hanging the tire halfway out onto the grass, which definitely helps open up the line through 11. I've gained a little bit of space on the guy behind that lap. Caught me at an inopportune time for him there. Alright, we're going to hold station for a bit here, so let's skip forward a couple laps. As you can see, not a whole lot's changed yet. Spoiler alert, maybe it's going to. But it is starting to feel like a bit of a long session at this point. Definitely the arms and hands are starting to feel it. And he's closing up with the draft here. And is able to pull alongside this time. I'm going to not drive into the dirt, so that's a small win. And only lose one spot there and sicken his draft, so not too bad. And just take that spot right back. And he wants to take it back again, but it's not going to happen there anyway. Might happen in the future, let's see. But in order to see, we're going to have to fast forward 6 laps. Did I mention it's a long race? There's also CSDL hot out there, which is not helping. Alright, so we just got a couple laps left now. I managed to drop those guys a bit, and I was starting to think I might be able to just cruise to the finish in this spot. But no such luck. They started working together again, pushing each other, and have been steadily closing back up to me. Point where I am definitely under threat again here. I'm also really struggling with the rear grip at this point, fighting it around every corner and just trying not to have it really snap and scrub speed. Yeah, kind of like that. And here he comes. And then Leighton drafts right up behind him and freezes me out. So there's 2 spots. And I hook onto them at least. It'll depend on whether I have any rear grip left at all. They're clearly not faring all that much better than I am. Okay, that time wasn't terrible. We close up with this draft here? Let's go! I think he's got a longer gear. Nope, there goes the DJI. DJI, that's so hard to say. Possibly took the last of my rear grip with it too. So things were starting to look promising there, but I do seem to be falling back off a bit. Although, so is Leighton, so maybe we got a chance here? I mean, not here, but somewhere? Please? Off! Or we'll just completely lose it there. and he'll almost crash into us as a result, but instead we'll get alongside. And yeah, with the inside line, he's got that. And while that was happening, we got the white flag, which I was both relieved and disappointed to see at this particular point. Starting to look like we're gonna have to settle for this. Oh, maybe not. Come on. Come on, come on. We can do it. All right. Now, I am very much not sure whether the rear is gonna stick through one here, so I am just gonna park it on the apex. Yep. And that's the way to hold on to the position for sure. And we will take the checkered. Wow, what a session. Would have liked to have 2 more spots there. I think would have sort of maximized my capabilities. But as it is, we finished 16th. We actually gained 2 places thanks to retirements. So, you know, it beats driving off into the grass. Instead, we'll drive off into the pit lane here, peel ourselves out of the kart, and be thankful to have survived, I think, my longest race ever. It certainly felt like it at the time.
Oh my god, I'm tired.
Pretty fun weekend in general. I, as always, feel like I learned a lot. Looking forward to getting back there, even if it's in the forward direction. And yeah, we'll just keep on learning, keep on racing. Hope to see you out there next time.
Oh man. Well, I think my pressures must have got too high or something.
I was hopping all over the place in those last couple laps. It was just hopping everywhere.
It was like a skating rink by the end of it.
Thanks.
Preston, that was fun.
Okay, so the last...
When I gapped you two a little bit, were you fighting between yourselves?
Oh yeah.
And that made the
oh,
gap?
I think I threw it up the inside. And
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew as soon as you tucked back in together, I'm like, they're going to be right back on me pretty soon.